Yes, you're joined by me, Dom. Hold on to what we've got. Is that a song? I don't know. I just made it up. With the spears. There's spears, right? You're chucking spears at each other? Is that what that one? Okay. Okay. Oh. Huh. You're sieging, huh? So you just picked it up. You've never played it before. Okay. We all have those. We all have those days where we just want to pick up a virtual M16 and splatter a brain. Let's have those days, yeah. Yes, the Elder Scrolls V or 5 Skyrim. Not or 5. It's not or 5, it's just 5. No one says V. That's not accurate. So, yes, but Skyrim. Brand new. Brand new. This is the first time it's been released on the only platform ever it's on. No, we've we talked about it so much, so it's funnier to me right now than it probably sounds. But yeah, still playing Skyrim. Think I'm like 80% through the trophies now. We're just grinding it out. Oh man, the masks. No. I forgot about that. I remember that when the first time I played because I think I have one right now, but I forgot that that was a thing. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Whenever you go back and play a game, you want to do what you didn't do the first time, right? Yeah. Well, we watched Game of Thrones, that little show. Yeah. Holy moly! Yeah. Mm. And we are thronesing. Yes, yeah. Well, this is older news, but yeah. Oh, It's crazy that like the show is so interesting. You're right, because Robert's Rebellion is such a big point in the show. Like it's huge. It impacts so many things, and they talk about it so much, and we didn't see it. We didn't ever see Rhaegar Targaryen, right? Like, yet he's so important, and we know about him. It's kind of, yeah, you're right. It's crazy how much there is in that world, and yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, my wife is very much into The Sims, but she's very much into it on PC. Like she likes having it on a laptop. That's part of the draw. And I remember The Sims 2 got a PS2 version. I don't think The Sims 3 ever got ported to consoles. I'm So it must have, and I just didn't know about it. Okay, so, but I remember, and I don't know, I don't remember, but I did play The Sims 2 on PS2. Me and my buddy did. I mean, not extensively. It's not exactly the cool game for 12-year-olds or whatever we were. But apparently that was very much gimped compared to the PC version. I've heard, which is understandable, yeah. But so I don't know if that's going to be the case here. I don't know if it's because of a control issue that that they have to gimp it so much, but I don't know. I don't know if this is big or not for that. I don't know how this could do it just seems odd. They don't seem to expect much to it, right? It's kind of an under the radar announcement for EA. Yeah, it's been a couple years. Yeah. Yeah. It's Yeah, it's tough. I think it's mostly the DLC that they make the money on right there. So I don't know how there's an audience, and it's decent size, but yeah, it's primarily the DLC they make all their money on, right? But it's interesting to see this, I guess. Let me stop you. Let me intervene. So it's not only am I not a big Dragon Ball Z fan, I actually right or fighting games or but Dragon Ball Z in general, I kind of not only just don't like it, but I actively dislike it. I'm taking it to that extreme right now. Burn me at the stake. But it was one of those things that was very much inaccessible when I was a kid. It was kind of like you like hear about it. I could see an episode now and again. Um, we had cable in and out. I don't know how to explain it, but I couldn't always watch it. It was on at times that never worked and stuff. And like I knew about it, but then like it was just so foreign and weird, and I didn't like it. I didn't like that there was a guy charging up his beam attack for what seemed like forever, and there was this Vegeta asshole that I called Vegetable, and I didn't understand him. And I don't know. It was just weird, and they're always looking for these Dragon Balls, and they never could find them all. It was just so distant and weird to me that I grew to like despise it, kind of out of spite of not understanding it fully. And now I'm an adult and I am never going to move past it. So it's completely unfair, but that's where I'm at with Dragon Ball. And I don't like fighting games either. So yeah. What's Goku? What is he? All right. Yeah. See, I'm done. Yeah, this isn't a union, but it's the league backing the players and setting requirements. You know, it's a yeah. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. Can you still hear me? Okay. My computer screens went black, but if you can still hear me, I'm gonna hope that I'm still recording. So anyway, um, yeah, no, this all seems like what they should be doing. I think, like you said, there's some people that are putting some money into this and investing into this, especially when these kind of numbers are coming out. Like, there's some people right now. There might be some indication of what they can make and how much this league is going to bring in as far as revenue, but I think there's still a lot of if. I think we're at the point where like a wait and see. Like, hopefully that we can, there's enough income to pay for all this, but this is the right way to start. Like, this is how, like you said, to attract a player base and make it seem more legitimate. To get people interested, and these stories keep coming out each week, and it keeps getting more and more real, like more legit, so to speak. As cheesy as that sounds, but yeah, I think this is good. This is what if they want this to be big and they think it can be, then yeah, these are the kind of investments and the kind of things that you have to do to make it get there. So yeah, this could be cool. Hmm. That's a good point, because that's something I never really thought about. The way you bring that up, that when you look at football, there's no one company or entity that owns the sport of football, right? Where in this case, there is one company that owns the sport of Overwatch, right? So you're right. They're like how they what they want out of this. That's a big part of this. I never really thought about it that way. That's interesting. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, this is complicated. Shit, you're right. There's like a lot going on, a lot of intricacies that we don't really think about. Ah, hmm. It really is. That's the best way to put it. This this last news is a pretty cool chunk of news, though. That's a good ass number, dude. Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say was I think they're playing with fire. They're right on that line of enough demand to give people, but still limited enough to make their thing feel in demand. Not quite this, not nearly the scarcity of the NES Classic, of that kind of game, but they still want this thing to feel, limited and scarce. Like they still want to put that a little bit of that desire, just to motivate people a little bit more, right? They don't want these 100 of them sitting in every mom and pop shop, right? Like still want to play with that line, but that's a careful line to play with. And plus, they're weird. They're maybe it's a Japanese thing the way they do business, but they're weird about having sitting inventory. Like I said, they don't like that kind of waste. So they take the risk of not having enough, which I went to school for business, and I feel like, I don't know, that sometimes they're not they just do things differently, I guess. But it's still a good number overall, though. 4 point whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. That's purely, launch syndrome, right? Yeah. Oh, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think by the end of this year, it'll get 2 or 3 million, I would think, in the few months that it'll be out. Because that's the season too, right? So, it should do well, and then it's going to keep going well. Like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, and even Cart. I mean, those are three games that, like a lot of Nintendo first party games, they're going to have legs. They're going to be selling and selling at full price for a while, right? Um, yeah, that's going to get up there too. Good point. Hmm. That was going to be my question: is if you think it hits 10 in 2017. Yeah. I think if supply were unlimited, I'd agree with you that they would hit 10 mil for sure, with especially with Odyssey coming out this fall. And if I don't know that they will do a bundle, but if they were to for in November or something like that, then they'd have no problem whatever. The demand is probably worth 15 million this year, But I think their weirdness and their supply issues are going to hold them back, which might pay back in the long run by keeping the demand high. It's hard to see. It's something you're forecasting over. Like I was talking about with the mini consoles, right? It may seem like they're giving up and a lot of opportunity. A lot of lost money on some of those they could be selling, but in the long run, the value they're adding to their brand could be greater. Or so that's the plan, at least, right? Yeah, and yeah, that's a good point. They do have flexibility there with how they message what this thing was, which we kind of looked at as a detriment, leading up to its launch. We're kind of like, well, how are they going to say this is a handheld or is it a console? Because then if they say it's a console, it's competing against better ones. And so, we thought it was kind of a mess, but now I think we've kind of shifted to what you're just saying, where it's more opportunity. But one comparison that I think is worth making is the Wii U, right? So it's nearly at half of what the Wii U has sold still. And the Switch has only been out 3 months, 4 months. So, I mean, that's big, right? So, I mean, we're past the idea that this could be worse than the Wii U and it could be the last console for Nintendo and all that apocalyptic talk. Like, that's all out the window. That's completely done. This is at least, way better sales wise than the Wii U, right? It's already proven that it's going to be way more successful. Now, will will it get up to Wii U, or I mean original Wii and PS2 type numbers or whatever, PS4? Like, that's the different question. But I think we can at least finally get rid of the idea that this is the end of Nintendo as a hardware manufacturer and so on. Yep. I mean, that's what's popular recently in the past couple of years is pixel count, frame rate, that kind of shit. Like, that's been the arms race, and it still is. But I think when it comes down to brass tacks, like, get my Saul Goodman lines in here. I know my answer. If you asked me, do you want something that is a game in 4K that looks great, or isn't, is 720p, but it's perfectly portable, right? 100% pure portability. Assuming, let's assume the software is the same, otherwise the same games, right? Of course, that's not the case. But my point being, I would weigh being portable over the increased visual fidelity for me. Again, that's not the popular thing, right now, in the YouTube comments and such, and the Best Buys of the world. But we want those pixels. But I think a lot of people feel the same way as I just described, at least, and that's where the appeal is here. Yeah, it'll ruin it. Yeah. wasn't the best looking, but I don't know if it's the worst looking. Okay. I'll have to watch some Overwatch clips because I don't know if I believe you there, but your point's taken though. Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And frankly, a lot of it is kind of self validation. And I'm big on the resolution stuff. 2 years ago, I probably would be singing a different tune, but once you start to realize it and you start to see what you think you want so much, like it's more about this is especially true in PC culture, and I don't you can tell me to fuck off or whatever, but I think it's absolutely true that saying that you can play a game at 4K 60 however many frames per second and saying that you have this 1080 Ti graphics card, like saying that is more valuable to the person than actually using it and experiencing it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yep, you're a little bit better. But because you spent so much money on it, you feel this need to, you know, let it hang out, like check, like this is what I can do, right? And it's less about what you're actually experiencing and more about say, like the bragging piece of it, I guess. Great analogy. Yeah. 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 But hey, that's not wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. I think as long as you can admit that to yourself, that I find value in measuring my dick, right? That's fine. That's not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong and you should be ashamed and you need to change your. That's fine. Sure. Have at it, man. Get the ruler out. Tape measure, whatever. Right. You, they spend more time benchmarking and overclocking than actually. We're getting into like kind of derogatory. That's all good. Like if you find a lot of enjoyment in like showing off how fast your piece is, like fuck yeah, that's sweet. That's cool. It doesn't matter if you find a lot of actual utility in that or not necessarily. If you like, again, get the tape measure out. Sure. What are we talking about? The Switch? Fuck. I'd agree. Portable stuff has always kind of leaned into that. I mean, there's always been iPods of different colors, and you can even order. I remember being able to order iPods with custom engravings on them and that kind of stuff. It's not so much with phones anymore. I mean, there's a couple different colors, but the aesthetic of it is still really important. But portable stuff that's more customization, I think, is even more important. I'm with you. I don't think so. Just because I don't think it'd be a good use of development. Oh, it will, it's not. It won't be a huge cost to port those over, but everyone who has a Switch has a smartphone. I mean, I think if I'm wrong there, unless they're a kid, maybe they don't. But But it's going to work the same way on the Switch, right? Just a little bit bigger screen. Yeah, it depends on that cost to port, right? I mean, yes. The 3DS is a nightmare. The Switch was it was much better. I think they fixed it, but you used to have to re-enter your credit card information every time you bought something. Yeah, I think they fixed that. So now that that's fixed, I think it's much better. One other thing I wish they changed, I don't think they will because it seems like it's by design, is you have to enter your password every time you go into the eShop, which is a pain to do on the Switch because it's a touch screen, but it's not as easy as your phone when you're typing in a password, and then or you're using the analog stick, and I don't know. It's just that's a nuisance. They should have a pin code maybe, if nothing. I don't know. I would have to look at the other numbers. The only one I know is Skyward Sword was very low. I think it was like 2.7 million. Well, I mean, very low for what it is, which is that's why that's why I say it's low because there was 110 million Wii's out in the world and only 2 point like how the fuck. Anyway, yeah, maybe Link to the Past. I'm gonna do it. All right, I got the list. So the highest selling Zelda game right now is Twilight Princess, 8.58 million. So that's pretty high. After that, it's Ocarina of Time, 7.6 million. The, it's one of those things where, and it's been said before, and even it's even more so about Metroid. Like, oh, where's our Metroid game? Like, if you look at the sales of Metroid games, it's like not very much. And Zelda's a little bit better, but it's still not like all think 8.6. That's between Wii and GameCube. Right. The Ocarina of Time was next, 7.6. Link to the Past is 4.6. The DS games did very well, despite them being trash. It's Phantom Hourglass, 4.7. So A Link Between Worlds, only 2.9, even though there's a lot of 3DSs out there, and that's the best game on 3DS. Yeah, it's fantastic. This is interesting because overall, these are small numbers in the world of like Call of Duty. Like one Call of Duty game, I feel like is more than all of them. Crazy. I think it almost certainly will be. Yeah. The one thing, the one caveat here that I'm assuming this list is the sales for that platform, right? So Ocarina of Time sold 7.6 on Nintendo 64 at retail, right? So of course all the used sales are out, but then I'm assuming that also all the remastered sales are out. All the virtual console sales are not counted here. Yeah, which is fair. Just worth pointing out. I'm with you. Let's stamp it in. Regis, that is my final answer. Yeah, I think we will. Yeah. Oh, oh. I'm gonna wait for your opinion on that game before I buy it. I'm assuming I'll buy it. Let's be honest here. I'd just get it on PC. I'm not gonna wait because it might be a year, right? Who knows? Okay, dude. I could to this day I could close my eyes and I don't remember the name of the map in Call of Duty 4, but I could tell you I know the exact location once you spawn. Where if you throw a grenade right over a building and this, if you line it up in a certain way, that you will get a kill every single time. That's how well I know those maps. That's an example. Yep. There's one map where as soon as you spawn, give me a sniper rifle, and without even looking and seeing people, I can shoot through this wall, and I will get a kill every single time. It's like it's so ingrained in my head. It's crazy. Nah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, Game of Thrones. Of course, I'll be watching. I'm teetering on whether I should give a try to Westworld since okay, because I do have HBO for the time being. So okay. Hmm. Yeah, I gotta give that a shot. In between Game of Thrones episodes. So, hmm. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep playing Skyrim, getting close to the end, and really, I'm pushing towards that platinum. I'm kind of just grinding straight through the trophies, and that's it. Because at that point, I can turn on the mods finally, and start messing around with that. So I don't want to, when you turn on the mods, you can't get trophies, or so I've heard. I mean, it makes sense, right? So I want to get that platinum out of the way, and then I can start screwing around with all those mods and have some fun. And you know what? I would understand that on PC because it's harder to control. But I'm pretty sure because if you recall, the PS4 mods are not as customizable, or there's not as many as there are on Xbox even. And I'm pretty sure they're only cosmetic type stuff, like not stuff that affects the story. I mean, I think there's like you can add lights, and so I guess it's not just cosmetic. It does help you, but I would really be surprised if there's anything that would really, that would make the trophies substantially easier. But maybe I'm wrong. You could just click "Give me trophies" or whatever. Yeah. Oh, I just can't. I don't know. It's one where, yeah, I've heard that too. That it's kind of like Game of Thrones. But I'm like, it's too similar. I mean, I don't know. It's not. It's not appealing to me right now. I get it, but I don't know. Oh man, it's really good. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Oh, she's great too. I hate her generally, um, but she's good at what at the in the show. She's good. Ron Perlman is fucking awesome too, by the way. And sorry, go ahead. That's one I want to jump into as well. But for Sons of Anarchy too, the guy that wrote it, Kurt Sutter, he writes a lot of really good stuff. But it's loosely an adaptation of Hamlet, I think. One of the Shakespeare plays. I'm sounding ignorant. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna say that. No. Who's the father? There's no father, so that's not a spoiler. It's not as strictly of an adaptation as that, but like some of the like the themes are there, and the last 3 seasons, strongly mirror some of the events. I don't want to just watch the damn show. It was cool that they're kind of basing it on something like that. I guess is all. Or create 10 accounts and sub on each of them.